This is day 82, Friday, September 11th of 2020, and I'm back at the Pinkham Notch Visitor Center, where I got off on Wednesday. So I went into the Libby House bed and breakfast and stayed the night, took a 0 yesterday, and my feet feel much better. So I'm going over the Wildcat Mountain range starting today. The goal is to do the 12 miles to the campsite. I don't remember the name of it right off. But we'll see how that goes. It's right after 8 o'clock. I got here, went into the outfitter and exchanged my darn tufts for a new pair. So that's 2 pairs of darn tufts down, but they were both over 3 years old when I started, so not bad for socks, I guess. Kind of looks like a beaver pond. And on the side where the sun's not at, it's nice and cloudy. But we've already conquered those mountains. We have a new set to conquer now. We'll see what there is to see along the way. Well, we're about a half a mile or so in. Yeah, it's a little pond here. It's kind of cold this morning. It's 41 degrees. But once you put the pack on and start walking, it warms up. I don't know how tough this terrain is. There were several people that slack packed it from the hostel yesterday, and it's 20 miles from Pinkham Notch to Route 2, I think, and it took most of them like 12 to 14 hours to do it slack packing. So I'm not slack packing, so I expect today, 12-hour day, to take 12-point-something mile day, to take 10 to 12 hours. But we'll see. It hasn't been bad so far. I don't know if that's another beaver pond or... I do know I bought too much food. Well, not really, it's just the weight feels like I bought too much food. I can definitely tell the weight difference from what my pack weighed when I got off the trail to what it weighs now. But it's funny, the pack's heavier, but since I'm rested up, it doesn't feel like a burden, whereas the other day, even though it was lighter, it was like I was dragging. It felt like it was heavy and weighing me down. It's just funny how that works. The days you hike, more food you eat, lighter your pack becomes, but yet the heavier it feels. I think I've talked about that before, but so I was strolling along the trail here, and I kept going that way because it looks like there's a trail there, but there is a stick, but not too far that way. It just turned into no trail. The trail went to the right, I'm assuming, but it looks like a lot of people do the same thing. But no biggie. Let's walking over a few more rocks. The terrain's not bad yet as far as elevation. It's just walking through all these landmined of rocks. New Hampshire definitely slows the pace. A lot of hikers get caught off guard. There was some at the hostel was talking about that. They went from doing 20+ mile days to 10-mile days. They were comparing with everybody else to make sure that that was normal. Because they just couldn't believe they couldn't make miles. And in my case, I went from doing 12-mile days to a 20-mile day over the presidents. And it's funny because everybody's got a different story of their hike over the presidents. There's a section hiker, he hiked over the same day, but he got done like 10 o'clock, so he had wind, but it wasn't as bad as what I was dealing with. Then the next day is another hiker. It was white out. They didn't get any views. And then there's a couple that got to hostel last night that came across it the day before. And the weather was so pretty and calm that they camped out on the top of Mount Jackson. So this is funny. Everybody has a different experience of the same spot. Well, that's what the trail's been like for the most part. It took a turn, and now we start with the uphill. The inevitable has arrived. At least we got a 1 mile warm-up that was fairly gradual. That's always nice. So that's what I've climbed up, well, part of it. And it's still going up. So this is a good climb. And I can see we're probably halfway up compared to the other peaks around us, so still got a little ways to go. So we're getting close to the end of our climb. I should get a view right here. A little bit of one. The sun's still working on that cloud cover over there. Yes. Little chipmunk, funny. You just run down that little hole right there. Oh, this is nice. We should get a nice view when we get to the top. I kind of had those rocks, except for like the last 3.5 feet. And put away one of the trekking poles for this one. So after that view spot, we've had to climb up all this. And we still got all that to climb up. It's not too bad though. Heart rate's 106. Legs are feeling good, but my arms are getting tired. All this pushing, supporting on the trekking pole. That's good. The arms need to work out too. We should be getting close to the peak. Almost there. Well, I said we were almost there, but we're going to the top of that, I believe. We have a little over like 1,100 foot in the next 1.5 miles. So we still got a little ways to go before we're at the top of Wildcat Peak D, I think. That's that one. So the trail goes this way, but I'm really surprised that there's not like a wooden ladder or something on the backside of that rock. You know, to go through and climb over, just to say you went under the hanging rock there. I think there is one you go under in Maine called the Guillotine. But we're still going up, but it's not as steep as it was earlier. But I may have spoke too soon. It might get steep again. We'll just see. Now we had a little bit more of a steep climb. Not quite to the top, but some decent views. And you can see way down there is the visitor center where we started this morning. It's about 11:30. And finally burning the clouds off over there on those mountains. Not quite, but it's working on it. Well, I just came up on a couple of those rocks, smooth type. And this is what we gotta go up now. Just wonderful. But luckily it's rough rock instead of smooth rock. But this is why I wouldn't hike in New Hampshire or Maine in the rain. Come across some stuff like that. It would not be fun. Oh, we made it to the top of the mountain. Or this particular one. It says in AWOL the gondola is open to October, but it does not appear to be so. So for right now, the terrain is fairly flat or downhill. I stopped at the top up there and had lunch. Passed a couple of hikers a few minutes ago. I said the hut, which is closed, has a pond you can get water. But then that's the last water for like 8 miles. Everything's dry. So I'll make sure to drink the quart that I got left when I get there and refill. I think the Imp, I think is the name of the camp spot. I was planning on going. It has a water source that is flowing, so I think it's like 6 miles from the shelter, so the guy's 8-mile estimation may be off a little bit. But this so far is better than what we had to go up earlier this morning. And here's one final look of Mount Washington. Right there. You can still see the towers and stuff on top. We might get another couple of views before we're fully out of the whites, but I'm not sure. And if you can see through the trees, it's Madison over there. We climb down into dark. But it looks like a beautiful day in the President's. Nice and clear. Probably still windy. Although maybe not as windy as it was the day I went over. Could be more so, I don't know. Had a little bit more uphill. It wasn't too bad though. Well, the sign says there's a view, and it looks like there is the view. I guess we can walk this far. Now that's a pretty good view. It looks like an AMC hut down there. It's probably the one we're going by. We're like a mile away from it. So we're probably going to keep following this ridge a little and then down that steep hill. Just to climb back up that steep hill on the other side. Woohoo! That kind of looks like the side of the mountain fell down right there. So we are starting our rocky descent from Wildcat Mountain down toward the hut. It's been slow going today with these steep rocky climbs, rocky descents. And the wind's making it cold. I thought about putting my raincoat on, but I know once I start up the other side, I just have to take it off. So I'll just stay a little on the cool side for right now. I stopped here, got water, drank a quart, filled up both my bottles, so I got 2 quarts, and then a half a liter still left in my water bag. I didn't want to get the water from the pond, so the water coming into the pond worked great. Now it's 4:30, and we've been 7 miles almost, and have almost 7 to go. I was thinking it was a 12 miles to that camp spot, but apparently it's 13 something. I know it's getting cold. It's 48 degrees already. Oh. I'm about to climb a hill, so it should warm us up and then freeze us to death when we get to the top. Kind of a cool little pond, nice and clear. So could have got water out of that, probably been alright. Well, anyway, the plan originally was to go to the campsite for the night. The Gut Hooks comments says this hill's not very steep and technical. Well, we'll see. One person's opinion of steep and technical may not be the same as another. But I don't think we're going to be able to do 6 miles in the next 2 hours. And that's the mountain we were on top of for the view last. But we'll get close to the camp spot. I got enough water that I don't need water for camp. So somewhere around 6:37, if I spy a good spot, that's where I'm going to post up for the night. The Carter Knot Hut, 0.1 miles that way. Imp Shelter is 7.2 miles this way. You should make it 3 or 4, I would imagine. But I've been wrong before. We'll just see how it goes. If I don't make it the whole way today, I'll add it to tomorrow, because it was only going to be 8 miles tomorrow. And like the last 4 of those, according to all the slack packers, are just smooth sailing. So if I have to add it to tomorrow, no biggie. So that's the way I just came up. Maybe you can see that's Wildcat Mountain. So comparing to that one, we're about halfway. When I was looking at this mountain from across there to view, they were pretty compatible as far as height. It's definitely rocky, but it's not. They have a lot of stones placed as steps, so it's not super steep. And you can kind of just steady keep going. It almost reminds me of climbing a 4,000 footer or something in the south. So yeah, not bad so far. Decent little view spot. And that's the mountain we were standing on earlier. You can see the hut down below. Maybe you can see that. I don't know. But yeah, we're getting close. It's only 5:05. So this is a good climb. I mean, if there is such a thing as a good climb up a hill or the side of a mountain. New Hampshire sure is pretty. Everybody says Maine's prettier. Well, we're about to find out in just a couple of days. The trail is that way. So there's a view there, but I don't know how far up it is, and it'll just be the same as what we just saw. So I'll pass that one, even though I've walked like 800 miles here to see it. There does come a time, if it's a view of the same thing, just a slightly different angle, where you get to where you're like, eh. It's different if it's a view of something you haven't seen yet. Well, it appears we made it to the top, and there's nothing to see. Did pretty good too. It's only 5:50. Hopefully there's something to see over here. So that's the steepest terrain of the day behind us. There's no other hills that steep between here and the camp. There's just 6 miles between here and the camp. Yep, campsite, 6 miles. And this is what we call a pud. A pointless up and down. A lot of glass. Oh no, not quite. There is a view. Not too bad. So that roughly half a mile from Carter Dome, where we got the view last, has been quite nice. We're headed to Zeta Pass now. You could go that way, 0.2 miles to Zeta Pass. Or you can go via the AT, and it's 1.0 miles. Because you gotta go over a mountain. That's the blue blaze around the mountain. Yeah, there's so many potentials for cutting this trail short, if one so desired. That's like the hike through the Presidents the other day. I could have taken the road down from the top of Mount Washington to the trail and cut out like 10 miles and all that night hiking. But what's the fun in that? This isn't bad though, I like it. I hope it stays this way for a little bit. Now that's a nice view. Wind sure is cold though. It's 45 degrees. So yeah, the trail from that mountain there that we were at just a little bit ago, I mean that was a pretty quick mile. And now we get to go downhill, and I'm assuming over that, and that doesn't look bad at all, so. But I still don't think we're going to make it before dark, so it's 6:30. I'll be looking for a camp spot in the very near future. I just don't feel like camping. Well, camping, yeah, I feel like camping. I don't feel like hiking after dark. It just comes through Zeta Pass, I believe. There was one stealth site, but somebody had a tent in it, according to Gut Hooks. There's another one a mile ahead, just over the summit. It's not a very high elevation, so it shouldn't take too long to get there. It's now 7, so well, we'll find something shortly, I'm sure.